Hey YouTube and Bible collectors, Herman Sims here, coming to you guys with a Bible review of the Cambridge Wide Margin New American Standard Bible. This is my favorite Bible. Before I get off into the review, I want you guys to go and subscribe to Matthew Everhart's channel. I hope you subscribe to my channel as well. But more importantly, you should subscribe to his channel, as he is the progenitor of this particular genre of Bible reviews. But let's go ahead and take a dive into it. First, I'm going to talk about the cover durability. As you can see, very textured, in deep grain, very unique. Variety, variations. This cover, in my opinion, can withstand just about anything. Now, I will be honest, I did not use this Bible every day, but I did use this Bible a substantial amount. I actually work in the school system, and I would take my Bible with me every day to work, and I read it every day. I did not keep it in a Bible case. I actually stuck it in my bag, and sometimes I just carried it in my hand. I'm a pretty big guy, so it doesn't really bother me to carry big Bibles like this. But this thing held up extremely well. One thing I do want to emphasize, however, is that in contrast to, I actually have another wide margin, which I will do a brief comparison with shortly at the end of this video. But I want you to take notice at the fact that the stampings in the spine are non-recessed. Obviously, these are non-raised hubs, but right here, these were not actually stamped into the spine. It's kind of superficially stamped or placed right here on the spine. So these are beginning to you can still see New American Standard, but it's definitely fading. Wide margin is still, pretty intelligible. Cambridge as well. But there is some wear as it relates to the stamping. Also, I don't know if this camera on my iPhone will render it correctly, but there is a little bit of wear, perhaps some sanding down. Actually, in Matthew Everhart's video, he'll tell you guys about the fact that when you open the Bible and it slides, typically the first area of the cover which begins to wear is typically this area. But another thing that I really actually enjoyed about this Bible, most people probably won't agree with me, is the looseness, for lack of a better term, of the hinge. I'll actually compare that to the newer wide margin I have, but it's pretty loose, lays extremely flat. I don't know if you can see it. Perhaps I can change the light a little bit. Lays pretty, extremely flat. But yeah, this Bible seems to be breaking in extremely well. Also, I changed the ribbons in mine. This is actually the second time I did it in this Bible. As you can see, headbands holding up pretty well. Don't know if we really check the durability of headbands, but I digress. But ultimately, also let's check out the gilding. The gild. The art gild is still there. And I thumbed through this thingy pretty well. You notice there's a good amount of notes in here. So, to my surprise, I actually took this Bible outside on rainy days sometimes, and I did not put it in a bag. I'm a bit of a daredevil. Emphasis on the dare, not the devil. But yeah, I'm actually surprised there are no spots in the art guild. The gold gilding is wearing just a little bit, but it's holding up surprisingly well after a year. Barely any scratches. I'm starting to believe that if you put it in cases or in bags, that's typically where it rubs up against other books or perhaps the zipper, something along the lines of that nature, and that's usually what causes all the scratches. I do have one little nick down here, one right here as well. I guess a couple down there, but nothing significant. So it's holding up pretty good. Isn't really a superficial gold gilding. It's pretty durable. Also, I wanted to show you guys how the paper in this Bible is, I'll admit, it's pretty good. It's actually surpassed my expectations. As you can see, I noted it up pretty well. The bleed through after a year is not bad at all. I haven't actually experienced any bleed through, and I've used a multitude of different writing utensils to mark up my Bible. Typically, I use the Picramicron. The nib size I use, let me see if I can find one. Yeah, typically it's a 005. But if I want to underline something, I may use the 01, and I don't have a 005 in the colors, green and blue and red. Only have it in the black, but it's pretty useful. But I actually have become fond of the G2 Pilot pens in a 0.38. I don't know if this is considered a nib, but ballpoint, perhaps. Yeah. Anywho, this is pretty good at not bleeding through. Of course, I haven't suffered any bleed through on the 07 as well. But also, what I've noticed, this particular highlighter I did not use it to highlight right here, so I guess it's a bad time to emphasize it. But this particular highlighter, the Sharpie highlighter, I think this particular brand, it has smear guard. This is great. I actually use this on my Schuyler Thintail New American Standard Bible, and the paper on that is significantly thinner than the paper in this Bible, yet there is no bleed through whatsoever. So this is a great highlighter for your Bibles. I've noticed in this Bible as well that the bleed through is actually non-existent. So, but even if you really don't care, or perhaps you really don't have access to a different highlighter, the other highlighters don't bleed through a whole lot. You can see where you typically press down when you initially begin to mark, and once you stop, that's usually where the most of the liquid from the highlighters is left on the paper. But this Bible has held up tremendously well. It has served its purpose extremely well. Let's also talk about. Actually, I wanted to show you guys the tab system that I've learned from Matthew Eberhard. I guess you probably guessed it already. But I also implemented my own particular. This isn't the Bible I'm studying in right now, but I actually have a study tab here so you guys can see it. There we go. I don't know why I had to let you guys actually read it, but I actually have a study tab. You know, it's kind of helpful in terms of just, you know, flipping the pages, getting right there. Most of you may rely on muscle memory. I'm really not too big on that. I mean, everybody pretty much knows Old Testament, New Testament. So, you know, depending on the Bible that you're in, that would depend on the muscle memory. Anyways, I don't even know why I'm continuing on about muscle memory. But those tabbies work great. I also have reading logs in the back. This is my Bible reading plan here. This is my progress as well. I have this in every Bible. So this is my progress in this particular Bible. But then again, this isn't my reader. So I also have another plan up here. This is my 30-day Bible reading plan. And again, as I just stated, the plan only applies to this particular Bible. Also in the back, I actually do use the concordance while I'm here. I'm probably one of the few people who actually uses it, but I find it very helpful when I'm trying to find perhaps do a word study. And before I go to the Greek, it's kind of helpful to see all the verses it's used in whatever testament I'm looking at it in. So it's proved to be very useful. But let's go back to the back here. Actually, I have the tab right there when I'm flipping. I actually indexed my notes. I don't know if you can see this a little bit. Biblical Theology, page 4. I've actually already added some subjects to the index that I haven't actually written in yet. That's why they don't have pages. Faith does not have a page yet. The 5 fundamentals of the faith. I am not a fundamentalist, but I find it helpful to write some of these things. I'm actually in school for theology, so I find it helpful to write some of these major doctrinal subjects, for lack of a better term, in the back of my Bible. You see right here, Jewish sects in the New Testament, the Sadducees, the Essenes, and the Pharisees. Also, you see justification there. But yeah, I actually use this. I plan on using it until it's completely full. Paper is great. Actually, it feels thicker than normal. Typology. Sanctification. You got positional, progressive, and perspective sanctification. A couple